All right. Hey, everyone. It's Friday, as in, thank God it's Friday. And today
Definitely.
is another Q&A with Alan and Marshall. I'm Marshall Atkinson,
I'm Alan Howe with Easy Way.
and we're here to answer your questions. This is a Q&A show. And so if you haven't watched us before, thank you for tuning in. If you have watched us before, you know how it works. But we would really love it if you guys would say hello, if you would let us know where you're watching from. And as we get into our topics later, we really need you to ask us questions. So
Definitely.
we can't do the answer part without the questions. Can we, Alan?
Definitely not, because then we just talk about ourselves, whatever we want, and nobody needs to hear that.
Right. So a lot of people are getting into the group. So Josta's here from Sweden. Sean says hi.
Hey, Sean.
Bollinger's here. So thank you for joining. Keith Burwell's here. Keith is here. Thanks for watching.
Yep.
Keith absolutely killed it yesterday in Shirt Lab Tribe with his presentation he did on TikTok. So thank you, Keith, for that.
Yeah.
Awesome bit of information. And Alan, you watched that, didn't you?
I caught the very last part of it because I saw Keith on it and I had to hear what he was saying, but I need to go back and listen to it later on today. But yeah, I'm excited because I think, as we were talking earlier, I think it's a great subject. TikTok has gotten such a bad rap, whether good or bad, real or not, but it is a very powerful tool if used correctly. So I'm real excited about going to listen to it.
Yeah, what? So I was thinking yesterday, maybe I need to start a TikTok account because I need more stuff to do.
I have a cousin in Alabama, and she is blind, and she has a TikTok account, and she is killing it. Talking about how she functions. How she functions.
She's blind on TikTok?
Yeah, she has some people that help her, but she's in college on her own and stuff. How does the cane work? How does she function? How does she do color? It's amazing. So,
wow, that is cool.
Yeah.
So Eric's here. Charles says good morning. And he says thank you. It was fun.
Yep.
All right, cool.
So I gotta look it up. I don't have my phone on right now and find out what it is. We'll post it on what our account is. But yeah, very cool.
It is cool. So we've been gone for a bit. We were off for Thanksgiving. And so did you have a good Thanksgiving?
I had an incredible Thanksgiving. I stayed at home. I was at my parents' house. We did get together, my mom and my stepmom and dad. And my brother and nephews were there. And, friends of the family. We had a good time, just a good meal. We sat around the table. It was good. The kids were masked up, just because they're younger. When I say younger, they're in high school and stuff. And, just doing that. But we had a good time. Lost a little money playing poker. My dad laughs at me still. But, it was just a good family time. So yeah. I had a great day.
Okay, cool. Well, hey, before we get into stuff, we have our first question. Yeah. So, Sean
Phone's
says,
in airplane mode,
all right.
So I can't help you with that at
Be
the
quiet,
moment.
Google.
You're in airplane mode.
I'm in airplane mode and wanted to tell me that. Thanks. Sean says, has anyone printed on the District Thread 6000P pocket tee? How do you print on the pocket? Because this barely has a 3-inch wide pocket opening, will not fit on the sleeve palette. There is also a diagonal stitch that makes opening even smaller. So that's very interesting. You're printing on the pocket. I guess you could do it. I wonder if you could do it the old school way where you build up the cardboard and just put that on the platen, right?
I was just thinking that. Yeah, put the shirt on the platen. Have some cardboard cutouts, put it in the pocket, build it up. It's going to be a little bit more labor intensive, but yeah.
So, and then you might also, if it has only a 3-inch wide pocket opening, we're not fitting on a sleeve platen. Is that because it's like you're using a 4-inch one? They make narrower sleeve platens too.
Well, he says it has a diagonal stitch that makes the opening even smaller. So
it has a diagonal stitch
So
fish on where?
You're going to have to get inventive. I see James Ortolani just popped on. So James, you might be a little bit more versed in this than I. So let's hear it, buddy. I need your help. So
Yeah.
Mr. James Ortolani from Willflex, everybody. I just gave him a shout out, Academy member. So yeah. But I think you're going to have to go old school, Marshall. You're going to have to put the shirt on. You're going to have to build up a cardboard and put it in every pocket and print it on there to fit in there. And that's old school pocket printing.
Yeah, so I think you just might have to go old school. So good luck with that. And then also, if you do it, make it because of the limitations. You might make it just, hey, we can only do a one color because of the style. Maybe why are you using this? If it's such a difficult shirt, it's not the only shirt that has pockets, right?
Yeah.
So you might consider switching to another style or brand. I don't know. So
yeah. James Orlando just pointed out too. He said you might want to put some light spray tack in the pocket too to keep it from moving once you have that build up in there.
Yeah, right. And then Keith has the best idea: print some transfers and just press it.
Press them. And this might be something. If that shirt style is always going to be that way, this would be one. Get a hold of Action Engineering, see if they can adjust the pocket print just for that.
You're right there in Atlanta. I bet Eric's already solved this.
Yeah. So I would check with them.
Okay, cool.
Great question. Thank you.
Yeah. So we got Peter's watching from Roselle. Thanks, Peter. Mike's here. Richard's here.
Hey, Mike.
And Peter says, looking for the next 30 minutes of Marshall and Al before I need to drop off for another call. Well, thank you for hanging out with us. Appreciate it. And then Yosa says, is it this? And I'm not sure what that means. So
you're putting a picture on. We can't.
More for us dumb Americans. We don't get what you mean.
Yeah. It probably isn't that.
Or Sean says, or I can just say that they're out of stock, right? Well, the problem
is always
is if your customer has the ability to check, then you're instantly untruthful, right? So you might just want to say, hey, this is a problematic shirt due to the width. This is how we're going to have to handle it. I would rather go that route than fibbing.
Yep, absolutely. Just be straight up with them.
Yeah. Okay. And Cora's here. Hey, Cora, how are you?
Cora.
So let's get into our topics, shall we?
Absolutely.
Here's our first one, which is something that you wanted to talk about, Alan. So take it away.
So testing or investing. So we're ramping up. Everybody's getting their holiday stuff done. If you haven't worked on your holiday stuff, good luck on getting it now. But it needed to be done. You're doing that. Afterwards, there's this kind of lull, especially in between Christmas and the first of the year and even into it, a little bit of a lull. And this is where a great time, especially for printers, of where you should be testing at. I want to know, what are you testing to make yourself more inventive, more intriguing, and more valuable to your client base? Or what are you investing in to, again, make yourself more profitable for coming up in 21? If anything we've learned during this year, it is all about profitability, whether that is labor, whether that is pricing, whether that is upgrades, because regardless of what a weird year this is I am still seeing people making investments. They're making investments in technology, screen reclaiming machines, which is the area where I live in, direct to screen machines, new automatics, auto coders, in the screen world. What are you guys doing? So, Marshall, you had on your best T-shirt ever, you had a few weeks ago, Mark Gervais, who you and I know, Mark. He's incredible. No need to go in there. But he was talking about a print that he did, and it was a high-density, water-based high-density. And they were doing this, and they were testing and playing, and he was learning on it. And he said no matter how big or small, you should always be testing or investing or learning a new process.
Right.
Now, that print was incredible, and I had the privilege of seeing it last year, the strike off of it. But you know what? I don't think sometimes it's a big project and stuff like that. It doesn't have to be. What are you doing? What if it's creating artwork? Those of you like Marshall who live in that art realm, what are you testing to maybe incorporate a puff pattern on there, a shimmer? I love a simple foil pattern where it comes off and you have a crumpled up foil and you just tap it all over to give it a cool look. And those are the things that set you apart from your competition and make yourself more valuable. And I talked all screen. What about embroidery? Are you learning new stitch patterns? Are you learning how to do raised foam? Are you learning to do patches? What now is the time to be testing this is down so you can do that. What about online stores? Are you doing it? Or do you need to start working on that?
Yeah, so it's really about pushing the envelope on your skills, right? So if you can master a technique, right, you can sell that technique to all of your clients, right? So whatever it is, that's something that can become a profit center for you because you can highlight it. You could do their logo in the new technique and send it to them and go, hey, just thought you'd like to see our latest example of badassery, right? This is really cool. Thought you might enjoy it, right? And you do a little sample. I would do it with their logo or their art or for their customer or whatever, not a generic thing with your logo on it, okay? Because you want to make it all about them for them to connect the dots. Because if you make it about you, it doesn't really have the impact, right? So now's the time where master some technique and then show your clients the reason why they should be interested in it.
Yep.
And that way, come January, guess what? You can be taking orders for that, right? So
absolutely.
And this could be really about anything. But if you're interested in like non-sales things, this could be inventing a new process for quoting, or this could be a new way of receiving, or cleaning your, hey, I'm sorry to say this, cleaning your messy ass shop, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Spending the time organizing. And one of the things that I would challenge everybody is, does the junk in your shop have a date on it? And for example, how many shops have you been to, Alan, where they have racks and racks and racks of stuff? And you look up and go, what is that? It's, oh, those are some shirts from that job from 10 years ago. It's like, well, why are they still here?
Get rid of them. Yeah.
Taking up valuable space that you could be using for something else. It's like, oh, we can get rid of them because we'll use them one day, right? Or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So
10 years later, cut them up. They're rags.
Yeah. So just really, it's all about right now is a perfect time to be really thinking and retooling and wherever you're weak and strengthening that and making it better, and really just recognizing that it's okay. And if you don't have the answers, if you don't know how to do something, now's the time to raise your hand and ask, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
You can call somebody, you can ask somebody, you can watch a video, you can read an article, you can, talk to one of your suppliers. A guy like Alan, I'm sure will happily tell you how to do stuff with his product, right? And so take that time and get it done.
Sometimes it's looking at your process of what you're doing, what your product is, and going, is there better? Talk to your current supplier. If this has been working great, are there any updates, anything new? What's changed in your shop that maybe they're going, wow, we appreciate your business all this year, but you know what? Because you're doing this now, this might be a better thing to look at.
So Mike has a question. He's like, we're adding water-based ink to our offerings. What suggestions do people have? What would you change? Okay.
Well, yeah. So for water-based, the first thing when I think of on water-based is I think it's a great offering. One, is the most important part, your screen and stencil. So what are you changing? And it's not just I'm just going to get a water resistant stencil. It is your processes. While water-based is the best, it's a great product out there, it's going to show you where you're weak at, because Plastisol is so forgiving. So Michael, my first suggestion would be make sure your stencil processes are down. All right, your coating, your EOMs, your complete drying, your complete curing, and then test with water base. Do not wait until you have a job and I have to learn to do it, or you will hate yourself and life and water base and everybody to go with it. And I see that.
I use black water-based ink and print something.
On right? White shirts, absolutely.
Try white ink on a black shirt.
Yep.
And then, and then
flash it.
Color. And then, just start with easy stuff. And it can be the same art every single time. Okay. Don't think you have to, in fact, you might want to do a test image that's got halftones and little lines in it, maybe like a half a point line or something, and a gradient scale and some like a E scale with some letters, or maybe some squiggles or something, and then you print that with different colors, with different techniques. You do different stuff with it, and then you can see how it reacts and how it works on different shirt colors and everything, right? And you just learn how to use it that way. That's probably a really good way to do it.
Look what Michael posted at the time. He just posted a comment.
Yeah, we have 10,000 to print next week, and you don't know how to use it.
We're going to miss you when you're dead. Yeah, when you're dead, we're going to miss you. So
do yourself a favor now, and don't wait till next week to learn how to do it. Okay?
Yeah, absolutely. And get with people who know. So Michael, you're right in California. T. Martinez lives from Matsui, lives right in Phoenix. Get a hold of him. If you're using Matsui, which I think you probably would in California. He's amazing. Wolflex, Poly One, James Orlani's online. They have some great Aquarius ones. Get a hold of them. Get testing with your manufacturer. And your ink reps are coming in perfect. Good. Screen is going to be important. Your screen and emulsion is going to be the most important.
All right. Hey, look, Mark's here. He's taking some time off from his barbecue to join us.
Mark Saldonic is a great guy. Mark, if you guys don't know him, Mark is kind of the face of GSG Graphic Solutions. He does a lot of their tech tips. He's their application specialist and a master barbecuer. He is all about smoking and barbecuing, and I love to see everything online because it makes me hungry, though.
Right.
Yeah.
So, hey, Mark, I sent you a video yesterday. I was curious if you got it. So, anyway, it's all about just testing and making sure that you're doing everything right. Like everything, you want to know everything about it. You want to understand their processes. You want your team to understand the ins and outs and what we're supposed to be doing. And with clarity, what does success look like? And now's the time for you guys to be really researching that. And it's okay to stub your toe and make a mistake, because that's how we learn.
Oh, you want to. You want to learn. You want to make mistakes now, not while you're on press, not while you're in production. Yeah.
Yep. So
we missed a lot. We got to go all the way to the top. We missed a lot of stuff.
Oh, did we? Hold on. What did we miss?
I don't know. Keep going up. Let's see. What people are doing. So.
Oh, hold on. Gretchen Rath is here. She says she's on a quick break from Inksoft new employee training. Hey, congratulations on your new job, Gretchen. I know you've been doing Inksoft stores for people for a long time, so good job.
Congratulations.
And Cora is researching and testing DTF printing. What is that?
I'm not sure what DTF is. Direct to foil? Fluff? Fleece?
Hey, Cora, let us know what the hell DTF printing is.
Yeah.
And James says he's traveling to several shops during December and January and testing water-based and discharge and water-based special effects. That's great.
Right there. Yeah. Aquarius. And again, James with Poly One. So it's Aquarius. There's your guy. Or, get with you. And I'm glad you have your reps coming in, Michael. So
Yosta says get 1% better every day and enjoy the process.
Absolutely.
Yep. Hold on. Mike says it's our 2020 pivot. There you go.
Yeah, we have 3 more weeks to say that.
Mm-hmm. Good. And Mark got my video. Thanks, Mark. Oh, it's direct to film.
Inkjet film?
Yeah. Aaron says, hey, Easy Way, does it help to have a dip tank warm when reclaiming on cold weather warehouse?
Yes. So the quick answer is yes, Aaron. With any chemical, there are things that better and less, and it's always about temperature is a big one. So especially on all chemicals here in the north where it's getting colder. So in a dip tank, there's a couple things to do. One, lift it up, put it on 2 cinder blocks, bring it up right off the floor. And that's going to help a lot. You can get heaters, make sure.
The concrete makes the product colder? Is that the reason why?
Yeah, because then they're done for the week, they turn it off, and then it gets cold in there. And anytime chemical gets cooler, when it gets to 55 degrees and below, they really get slow. I call them lethargic. And they're not going to work as well. In the summertime, like our reps that handle Florida, they just have a bottle and they just kind of wave it in front of the screen and stuff comes off. It's amazing. So you want to warm them up. If you can warm them up, that's great. There are some heaters. Make sure there's stainless steel to put in there, like kettle trough heaters people have done. And they can put them in there and keep them at about 85 degrees, 90 degrees, and it works great. But they got to be stainless steel. Don't do anything iron or anything like that.
Is there a model that you would recommend, Alan?
I haven't looked it up. There's also some wrap heaters you can put around the tank also to do it. But I think little things of just keeping it off the floor on a cinder blocks do real well too. So it does help keeping them warm, and that's with any chemical.
Okay.
Because as things get colder, they get slower, just like I do the older I get. So
there you go. They told
question.
They told me it didn't matter.
Who's they?
Yeah. By the way,
they are wrong.
DTF is a new way to do transfers. And then Aaron also said printed heat transfer. So that's interesting. I hadn't heard that before. So thanks for
film. Never heard of it.
Right. And
this is Greg Kitson. Good job. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right there.
RV sewage tanks work great.
Yep.
And then Mark says same applies to inks. Keep buckets off of cold floors.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Your GSG rep was mistaken. And you heard it right from Mark Soldonic there. It is because it's Texas. I don't know how cold it gets down there being in Michigan, but it does. At Easy Way, we do know that. So I'm not saying I don't think he's lying to you. I think he's just wasn't informed. But yeah, it does. And these little things bring it up. I'm not sure, Aaron, where you're at in Texas or where you're located at. Let me know. Because here in Michigan, I mean, it'll get freezing. Supra, which is used in dip tank from Easy Way, if it freezes, it's dead. You never want emulsion removers to freeze. So
you shouldn't have to break the ice.
You just can't use them. They'll separate. They're just gone. So
right. Okay. And Cora gave us a better explanation. Printing on PET film for full color designs, transfers that are similar to screen print feel, great washability and durability. Well, great. I'm going to have to look into that.
Awesome.
And then Aaron chimed in, super color technique, kinda. All right. Well, great. Well, thanks. That's all great. And Aaron says he's in Houston, only have a few cold days, but I noticed it is slow to reclaim.
Yeah. I don't know how cold it gets to Houston, 70 degrees, 60 degrees. But yeah, just I think for you probably don't need the heater. Just up off the floor, put a couple cinder blocks or something, and just bring the tank up off the floor and the cold concrete, and that'll help a lot.
Mm-hmm. Well, great. All right, cool. So we ready for our next topic?
Absolutely.
So
great question. Thanks, everybody. Keep them coming.
Yeah. So what should you have started earlier? So this is another one that you wanted to talk about today, Alan. So why don't you take this?
And it came up, I had a conversation earlier with a client, and they're talking about, this year has been tough for everybody, as we know. But they're a little bit surprised because they're only down 3%, which is incredible. And while things have been different for them, they were talking about, they've been doing more corporate than they usually do. They're usually at sports and events, and they're doing more corporate, and they're doing, more promo. And these are things that they're going, wow. Marshall, you've always talked about that promo is a great add-on. It can be profitable. It's an add-on, and you don't have to touch it. You are pushing paper. And they said, man, if things get back and their events start, they're going to be sitting well because it's forced them to do new markets they wish they would have earlier.
Yeah.
And what came up with this? What is it? I see this with people when they invest in technology. You get a direct-to-screen unit. You get an automatic coder, auto reclaimer. Boy, I wish I would have done this, years ago. Your first automatic, same thing. And these are the things that once you have them, what should you have done earlier? Showed you that you've done, and that you're going, man, I wish I would have started this earlier.
Yeah. What interesting thing about direct-to-screen is I don't think have you heard of one story where somebody goes, oh, this thing doesn't work, I'm going back to film?
Never.
Right?
I've heard him say, I wish I would have done better research on the machine I got.
Right.
But all direct-to-screen units that I know of are always going to be better than film. It's just a matter of what their limitations are, and you have to know that.
Mm-hmm. Right. So, so we got a couple more comments here. Mark says, I keep our dip tank on a metal stand to keep it off the floor, even here in Dallas.
Absolutely.
Great. And then Sam says, great note-taking, folders of resources for print staff, tech data sheets, SDS, etc.
Oh, great thing, Sam. So, what should you have started earlier? Here's the other thing. This applies to here, Marshall. I have had people call me going, OSHA just came in, Alan, and I have my SDS sheets, but they're in a file in your desk drawer. And I go, and you got fined. You have so many days to fix that. Here's what you need to do in your downtime, because you don't want to wait till you get fined. If OSHA or some first thing they're going to do is say, where are your SDS sheets? Safety data sheets. And you need to have them in a folder. It is your responsibility to get them from the manufacturer and supplier. They are available. Every company has them. And if they can't get them to you, find a different company. Because it is the law. And if you have them in a folder in public view, one in the lobby and one where the staff knows, and then you have every staff saying you show them where they are, what they are, and you have it in their employee file or filed, here's they are, and they're signed, now have been trained on where they are, OSHA will love you, because everybody fails on that one.
Yeah.
Put your SDS sheets together.
Sure. Yeah.
Everything.
And, both Granger, Uline, all of those kind of companies, they have a little kit that you can get that's got like a little stand basket thing with a sign and the notebook yellow, and it's got a and you can, it's a 3-hole punch type of thing, and then you can download all their stuff. I would suggest doing tabs for the different, inks, chemicals.
I agree.
Thing. So you have everything together, and everything has a number, and then you can do it in chronological order of the numbers, and it really makes it easy to find. And then part of your HR responsibilities would be having an annual SDS training. And so I always did that with SDS, safety, and sustainability, because that's one of my big things. and we would do mandatory annual training once a year. We always did it when we were slow. So it's that weird time in between, Christmas and New Year's and that kind of stuff. It's the perfect time for this. And you just have an hour kind of a thing. And what I did is I had a test that I gave them. And of course, in the shops that I run, we had to have it in multiple languages because not everybody speaks English. And then you had to get a C on the test. Right. Otherwise, you had to take the class over. And so if you're at that level, when you get audited, like I've been audited a bunch of times, you pass with flying colors because they're going to ask your staff. They always pull them in and they ask, hey, have you had SDS training? And they go, oh, yeah, I got a thing. We took a test. There's, like they know everything about it because you've done the work. Right. And one thing that I did was I took a common thing, which for me was white ink, and I blew up the SDS sheet onto poster sized boards that I would use for training. And I would point out the different things that I wanted everybody to know because the SDS sheets are set up in a standardized way, even though the information is different, where different things are in different parts of the form, and that's how you know how to look them up, right? And
so it
very
didn't
easy.
Used to be that.
It's just you just got to set it up. And also, if I'm not mistaken, I think Printing United Alliance, which used to be SGA, I think they usually have a webinar like once a year on how to read an SDS sheet or something. I think.
Marcy Kenner probably would have done that. So let's not confuse SDS sheets that are safety data sheets, TDS, which are tech data sheets. And those are technical papers that go with them. So we don't want to confuse that. Those, OSHA doesn't care if you have technical data sheets. SDS sheets are the important one to have when it comes to OSHA. And now's the time to get them. Because the way the law writes, it's not the manufacturer, as someone that works for a manufacturer, the way the law is, our job is we have to have them available to you, the end user. It's not your distributor's job to make sure you have them. It's actually the burden of proof is on you. Now, you have an EasyWay product, you need an SDS, go to easyway.com. They're all online. Yeah. Just get them and pull them out.
Right. And then Sam has a good comment here. Outside of OSHA compliance aspect, the tech sheet section usually can answer several questions in terms of applications or recommendations on said products. This is really important because let me tell you, I've run into numerous times where the printer says this ink sucks or this emulsion doesn't work or something to that effect. And then you start asking questions and you realize they aren't using it properly.
Yep.
And it isn't the fact that the product is wrong. It's just that your process and how you're using it is incorrect.
Yep, absolutely.
And so your tech data sheet will tell you exactly how you're supposed to use the product. And this could be for anything. Heat transfers is a hot or cold peel, right? The temperature of something, the how you're supposed to use it, or whatever, right? If you look this stuff up, you realize, hey, the reason we're not getting the results that we want is because we're not using the thing correctly. So good.
That's exactly it. Tech data sheets, especially like for ink, man, they are right there. They tell you exactly. I've always, when I sold ink, I always looked at the ones from Poly One and International Coatings, and all of them, I think Rutland, all of them have these. It'll tell you exactly what mesh counts you need. What squeegee durometer works best. What's your film that you need to be using, your emulsion, and how to coat it. And there, what are the gel? What is the cure time? What is the gel temperature, which is different? Your flash, what it's good for, and read it all because everything is different and have those available. So, yeah.
So what else should you have started earlier? I would say probably looking at your processes, looking at how you do stuff, looking at the types of customers or types of orders that you're taking. Not all work is good work to take. And one of the things that we really need to look at is who is a good customer and what is a good job, right? A customer that doesn't pay you, that's not a good customer, right?
No.
So kicking people to the curb is probably something you should have started earlier, So it's just one of these things that, it isn't all about just consumables and machines. Sometimes it's just about the big, broad subjects that we need to be focusing on. And then, or what type of changes do we need to make on our customers? Like, for example, the thing that you were talking about a minute ago, where the one company started selling more promo stuff, right? So they're adding money to the ticket. So if you want to increase your bottom line sales, let's call that the would you like fries with that version of sales, right? So they're ordering shirts. Hey, would you like a stainless steel mug, or do you need magnets, or would you like a banner for the event? Maybe they're doing a big event. Would you like a banner for the front of the building? Whatever. What can you add to the order to increase the order size? And that's something you probably should have started earlier, right? So.
I agree. And I think too, I was talking to another company, and they have, on their jobs, which this company has access to do print, to do embroidery, to do digital, to do direct to screen. And while they have multiple automatics, they're going, man, is it profitable for us to take this job, and should we do it in-house? Where they've started on some jobs going, look, we can make more money if we just have someone else do it, a contract printer that's done it. And it's all about profitability. Right. And they said we probably should have been looking at this longer instead of just going, we'll just print it all in-house. Taking a look at every individual case by case. It's not, can you do it? Should you do it? And should you do it in-house? Because that job you could print might take 4 days of press time, where how many more other jobs could you have out where somebody more capable can do that faster on there? So,
So now's the perfect time to be asking that question. So I think that this is a good topic.
Does anybody have anything they've started? What have you done? You're going, man, I wish I would have done this earlier. Love to hear that.
So get some examples.
So absolutely.
Our next topic, I think is a good segue here, speaking about doing things earlier, is January sales start now. And I was talking with a coaching client the other day, and we were really focused on what we're doing for Q1, and they hadn't really started anything yet. And so I was like, look, here's what's going to happen is January is going to get here. The first week of January, of course, nobody's available because they're still on vacation or whatever. And the second week in January comes, and then they can't talk to you because they're busy because of last week. As now it's the third week of January, and you finally get a hold of somebody and whatever. And then by the time they make the decision, that order doesn't happen until February, right?
Absolutely.
So the reason why January always is the worst month of the year, of course, it's the beginning of Q1 and everything, is because a lot of times we don't start even the sales process because there takes a certain number of touches for a sale to happen. That's part of the sales cycle. We need to have that started earlier, which is why it needs to happen now. In fact, it really should have happened in November, to be honest. But if you haven't started, now's the time. Don't sit around, don't wait, let's get it going.
Yep, absolutely.
Some good comments here. Charles says the hardest part is being able to trust a contract printer. That's true, Charles. And if you need a list of recommendations, I have some.
Yep, I have a few too. So let us know. And this goes back to doing your research. Don't send them the worst job already. Start them off on something going, what can they do that's fairly simple? So you want to know, are they on time? Can they follow instructions of what you have, and can they get it back to you on time first? And so that's the first thing Marshall, is what I would do.
And to me, a contract printer is someone that has all the processes buttoned up, right? Yep. You're supplying them the inventory, you're supplying them the art, you're supplying them with all the information. Everything is ready to go. All they have to do is put it in the system, and you're going to drop ship them. Usually a good contract printer is on the PSST program. So they're going to get, they're going to get the inventory shipped to them for free. It doesn't really cost you much to send them the goods. And then they're going to turn it around and they're going to nail it. And it's going to ship out on time with perfect color matching and everything, because this is what they do.
Yep.
Right? And this is for embroidery, for DTG, for screen printing, for whatever. Okay. So they should be able to handle it. Okay. Now, a good thing to do is to find an order that is not such a crucial big deal and start testing contract printers with kind of low-key orders first. Build a relationship. I would suggest something that doesn't have a crazy due date that just needs to ship. Learn how they work. Build a relationship with that customer service rep. See what they do. See how they handle the information. See what's going on. This is how you build the trust, right, Charles? Is learning how to do all that and how they work and then what happens. Because I'll tell you, also part of this is understanding what happens when there's a problem. So what happens if Sanma or SNS or Alpha Broder or whatever doesn't ship the shirts right? Or do they wait? What's their process like? Do they check in the goods on the day that they get them, or do they wait a week? Right? And how do they handle things? How do they handle ambiguity where they're not really sure what to do or whatever? Do they contact you, or do they just print it anyway? Right?
Go ahead, Marshall. I'm sorry.
Right. And then what happens if there's errors or defects, right? Because we all know production happens, right? You shipped them 100 shirts and right in the middle of the run, a screen blew, right? And that ruined a whole round of shirts. There's nothing they can do about it. Do they buy the shirts? Do they work with you? What's the defect rate? There's a lot of things that can happen during things. We want to know what the answers are before we have that problem. So make sure we have that discussion with them.
One of the best contract printers that I've been around is actually listening, Greg Kitson from Mind's Eye Graphics. And Greg has always said they are more of a logistics company, and they just happen to print a few hours a day. Because for contract printing, it is all about logistics. And you want someone you can trust, Charles, get a hold of Greg at Mind's Eye Graphics.
Yeah.
I'm gonna throw a little shout out right there.
Yeah.
They have a thing. Actually, he's just posted right now. But they have a deal that they do for all potentials called Boot Camp for contract printers, for contract partners. And we're not talking, it doesn't have to be 10,000 pieces. We're talking a few, dozens and whatever. So Greg is a contract printer to screen printers. And I think he does it logistically better than anybody. Right.
So good. Thanks, Greg. And then Daryl just talking about starting things. He just raised his minimum. Hold on. So your minimum before was 144. Did you raise it even higher?
To 145.
And then less garment selections and more SOPs. So thanks, Daryl. Appreciate that.
One of the other things, the same client I was talking to, he did is, they've been doing more contract. Part of it is because of a group, one of their managing partners is in, called Vistage. And they've done some presentations, and they have these big companies starting to contact them. And because Vistage is a mentoring group, he says, look, I've researched you guys. He goes, we want you to start doing business because of all the services you do. But, this is a customer saying, look, I'm going to give you business, but you need to raise your price. You are way too cheap for the services you do, because that was the mentoring side in it. And they were telling me they wish they would have done that before. So they threw a 5% increase away on it.
Yeah, that's great. It's good to hear that. Yosta says that he's doing Scott Fresner's t-shirt graphics so he can be better.
Good.
And then Charles says he's going to contact Greg. Well, there you go.
Right. There you go.
We're like little matchmakers here today.
Yeah, connecting people. That's what we do.
Right. So January sales start now. So get on it. And then our last topic today, I think we got 15 minutes left, is really about some of the things we've already been talking about, which is processes matter.
They do matter.
The reason why I wanted to talk about this today is because I keep talking with folks where something goes wrong, and I don't want to get too much into it, but I was talking with a coaching client earlier, and they had an issue where one of their printers didn't print half the order. And of course, it caused all kinds of problems and everything. And so I asked them, well, what was your process for pulling the inventory to the press? And it turns out that they had gotten away from what they should be doing. And the printer, he went and got the inventory, and it was going to be 4 boxes of shirts. And he only got 2 of the boxes, and he brought them over, and then he got distracted. He didn't go and get the other 2 boxes. And in this particular day, they're running short-staffed. They didn't have a catcher. And so what the guy did is he just printed the shirts and he boxed them up, and they're out the door. And then he didn't go back and get the other shirts. He didn't do the final count. So what happened is they got away from their normal processes. And of course, it's easy to hold that guy accountable, and they certainly should. But my question was, from a leadership perspective, how did we get away from what we normally should have done? How did we not pull the inventory through the press and have it all complete and make sure it was there, and do that yesterday for today's production? How come we didn't have a catcher? And if we don't have a catcher, how come we didn't have the process of making sure that we had all of the shirts right there and it was counted and verified before we broke the job down, right? Yep. Why did we skip that step? So the processes that you have really matter, and we really need to stick to them. And that it sets us up for more success, even though, yeah, it's kind of a pain in the ass to do this stuff sometimes, but it's certainly better than irritating your client or having to do something over, or really taking it on the chin with something that wasn't printed or embroidered or whatever correctly. And so the processes that you have in your building, everybody needs to learn how to do them. We do them the same way every time. Yep. And we have those standards, and that's with everything we do, not just for the production stuff, but everything we do. You know, it's how you send the art off for approval, or how you quote a job, or how you ship something to Canada, whatever. We always do it the same way.
Yep. I think, you know what, here's why processes matter, because profit matters. Because when you get away from processes, they're called SOPs for a reason, standard operating procedures. When you get away from them, then things happen, bad things happen. Right. And those bad things are unprofitable. The reason why contract printers are so big on SOP, the reason why I have no problem saying Mind's Eye Graphics, if you're going to look at a contract printer, because I know their processes and their logistics. And contract printers have those because they know if something goes wrong, it's called profit. And that's why they're the best at it. So when it comes to the technical side, you know, Marshall, we were talking, and I, you know, on Shirt Lab Tribe, I just got a nice comment on a video series I did on printing better whites. There is nothing earth-shattering on there, but they are basic fundamental processes that most screen printers fail to do because they fail to know. And then once they know them, they just don't do them. And they consistently become unprofitable or don't make as much money as they can because they don't have their processes down. Processes matter.
Yep.
Profit matters.
So Mark says documentation, the key to any successful process, correct?
I always say write it down.
If it's not written down, it doesn't work.
Write it down, make it plain so those that read it can run with it and have it posted up there.
Right. Greg says SOPs rule.
He is the master of it.
Auto counters are one line of defense against shortages. Okay. David says, good afternoon, gentlemen. Sorry I'm late. Customers come first, always, but I made it. Thank you.
Always, David.
And then Daryl says, 2021, have a well-prepared print color book for our artists and clients.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
you know, I think,
Daryl, are you still outsourcing everything to Graphic Source, and how's that going? Just curious.
oh, that would be interesting. Yeah. I think too, some of the offerings people had, we were talking about early on print on shirts and stuff going, there's so much out there. I always find, Marshall, sometimes, and it's more of a sales thing, is the more you know your customer, the more you know your potential customer and get to know them, ask the questions, you're going to be able to narrow down on one or two items. Are you just throwing the Sandmar book at them and saying, pick something?
Right.
You got to know what your offerings are and be able to help them. Is someone on the supply side, if I've ever talked to you on the phone the first time problem, I am going to ask 1,000 questions. And I say that, I tell people, I'm not doing this to make you feel stupid. I'm trying to get a mental picture of what's going on. Because then as I'm doing that, I'm coming up with one solution. Now, believe me, I probably have another one, plan B, in my back pocket. But we want to narrow down. You're not there to sell stuff. You're a solution maker. Find a solution.
Right.
Yep.
And so the processes you have in your shop, I would really take a hard-line look at it. And let me tell you, one really great thing you should do is have a whiteboard or a legal pad or a spreadsheet or a Word document or whatever, one place where you're writing down all of your problems. And personally, I like using a whiteboard because it's visual and it's right there and it's in your face and you can't go away from it. But if it's locked in your computer, then you don't see it until you open it. But if it's a whiteboard, it's really obvious. And what you do is you write down your problems, your errors, your things that are really bothering you, right? And these are the processes that you dig into. And you solve them and you invent a better way, or you use the way that you're supposed to do it and you get everybody trained on it.
Yep.
Right? And a whiteboard is really great for that. So you have, whatever you're trying to do, you can put a date next to it. You can put who's responsible for it. You can put who needs to have the training for it. You can do a lot of stuff. But the important thing is that you're writing down these problems and you're solving the processes that aren't working so well. And you might not know the answer, okay? But to ask the question. And by understanding that you're having a problem and you're struggling, it makes it much easier to research and figure it out because it's right there in front of you. You know that you need to understand something better, and you can start the investigation journey about how to do it better.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. So what else about processes, Alan, that you think is important for people to know?
I'm so big on writing it down. And what always comes to mind, a few years ago, I'm in a shop and our friend Lon Winters was consulting at one. It was a bigger printer. I'd never been there. I knew he was in the area. I called him. He said, come on by. So we're there and he's showing me around and what they're doing, what they need to do. And all I'm seeing are these huge whiteboard poster boards, and it has processes written on them, and they're right there. They're so big you can't miss them because of all these new things he's showing people, and they're written right up there, in that area. Yeah. So I'm from that point, it's write it down, make it plain, so those that read it can run with it. Man, just keep doing it.
Yeah, make it easy to understand. There's a great book called Atomic Habits by James Clear. I highly recommend it if you like to read a book. That's a really fantastic book, especially about making changes. Yep. In the book, he talks about it's easy to make a change if you want it to stick, if you make it so it's easy to do the right thing, right? If it's like just mindless, it's going to be done the right way. If you make it so it's almost impossible to screw it up, right? Yeah. And in the book, he gives some examples about it. But for just sake of discussion, if you wanted to lose weight and you want to make it so you don't eat as many Oreo cookies, right? don't leave them out on the counter, because if you leave them on the counter, you know you're going to have one. So keep them in the pantry, or better yet, don't buy them. Right? Make it hard, make it easy to do the right thing, because you're eliminating the problem. So in our shops, like, what's causing the issue, right? What is the biggest challenge, right? And what are we doing to make it easy to make the right decision? And you can do this with visual things like color coding things. Press 1 is blue, or the 156 screen, you spray paint the ends blue, so you instantly know what has to go where, or what type of ink. A problem a lot of people do is they mix up poly white ink with regular white, and they don't use the right white. So what if you took some blue painter's tape and you taped up the edge of the handle on the poly white, so from 30 feet away, you know what bucket of white ink to use? It's right there. It's the blue handle. Those type of things go a long way, because you're making it easy for people to make the right decision.
We were talking earlier, Marshall, about something I might do for Tribe, but I did a seminar early on called just on bleeding and dye migration. And when you have shirts that are dry fit, that are polyester, that are tri-blend and stuff, it is all about the processes. You don't have processes on your dryer temps, on your flash temps, on your inks, and you get an ink mixed up and you're not using a low cure and you go to a standard ink, that process right there, you're going to lose money, because those shirts are going to bleed like a sieve, and it's not a $2 shirt. It is a $40 shirt. It's not going to be one. It's going to be all of them.
Yeah.
And processes matter.
It'll show up not when you print it, but it'll show up when the customer opens the box.
And that's the difference in bleeding, which is immediate duration, which is 3 days away. And that's back to processes matter, because profit is important, and plain and simple.
So we got some good comments here. Cindy says, with all the craziness in trying to order T-shirts, I had a customer send me a shirt order, specific styles, brand, color, sizes. Of course, they're not in stock. I found another brand, job done. By the way, I had a really interesting conversation with a shirt manufacturer yesterday. And one of the things I was talking about is the lack of availability for shirts.
Sure.
And what they're telling me is that it's not that they're not making the shirts, is that some of the distributors are not buying them. And so they're not keeping the stock levels that they should have. And of course, it takes time to make all this stuff up, because they know that orders are down, right? Because no events, we're not doing sporting, we're not doing the whatever. So before, everybody was buying stuff, and now nobody's buying them at the level. So what's happening is a lot of the shirt manufacturers have shirts available. They're just not being bought by the distributors. So I thought that was an interesting comment.
I wonder, Marshall, could it be too, just because of the time we're in, that it's almost they're buying stock JIT just in time because they're wanting to hold on to their cash too?
Yes, right. That's what's happening, right? So I'm not naming names. So
I've heard that too.
And then Daryl says processes, when we have them in place and when have a problem, having processes in place to help us identify where the problem is.
Absolutely.
Exactly. Yost says, good on you, Cindy. Sam says, great point. It's unfortunate that not all shops can run like Greg's. The leaders need to do their best to encourage change and not let people get stuck in a single way of doing things. I think this is an issue we have all run into. I agree with you, Sam. And then Cindy says, sometimes we forget about little companies like BAW. Exactly. And Sam says, the ceiling fan keeps spinning. It's pretty funny. Okay. So, all right, we're about out of time. It would, excuse me, it went quick today.
Went good. We had good conversation. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah,
some good stuff.
We're heading into the weekend. It's the first week of December. everybody I know is really crazy doing holiday stuff, and then it's kind of going to take a break and get ready for Q1. So hopefully everyone stays sane, stays safe, and does what we have to do to get through this year and start 2021 with a big bang. So
I think one thing we need to remember too, as much as we all say we can't wait till 2020 is over and we get back to normal in 2021, just remember, it's not going to be a light switch. It's not going to flip. If you're not making changes, if you're not pivoting, we have 3 weeks to say that word. That's it.
Yeah.
If you're pivoting and haven't pivoted yet, you're not gonna, and we're gonna miss you in 2021 because you'll be gone.
Yeah, well, it's a rough world out there, and we need to be doing what we need to be doing. And you're exactly right with the idea that, just because the calendar changes doesn't mean that everything is going to change with it, right?
Yep, absolutely.
We're still going to have lockdowns. We're still going to have COVID. We're still going to want the vaccine. We're still going to want our events to get back in place. We're still going to want to travel and do things. And so what are we doing to adjust? Right, and make things happen for ourselves. And because nobody's coming to your rescue, right? And you have to make it yourself, right? You're going to have to go out there. You're going to have to get new clients. You're going to have to get better work. You're going to have to get paid up front, right? You're going to have to do these things that we're constantly talking about. Nobody is going to do it for you. You're going to have to do it yourself. And but if you need some help, that's what I do. That's what Alan does. We're happy to help.
Absolutely.
You. Reach out.
And I think, you know what? The unknown is still there. We just don't know what's going to happen. Keep going, keep pushing. There are people that are killing it. Talk to a client, and they're amazed. They're only down 3%. They have had to move and pivot and do that, and they're looking at the numbers going, wow, 3%, pretty incredible. There are some that are up. There are a few of them. But, man, so it's going to make you stronger. Keep going. Keep doing it. Let us know how we can help.
Yeah, and let me tell you, if people out there saying, "Hey, nobody's buying," I'm throwing the bullshit flag on that. They're just not buying from you, right? They're buying. There's people buying stuff. Right?
They're just not buying it from you. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. So you got to just think about what you need to do, and just because you serve a certain client base doesn't mean that you need to stick with them, right?
Yep.
Because if they're not doing anything, because let's say they're an event. Right, and that event's not happening. Well, then why are you sticking with that channel? Once you figure out who else is buying right now and start figuring out how you can help them and what problems you can solve for them. So.
Yep, absolutely.
All right. So last minute comments. Daryl says, thanks. Bye.
Bye, Daryl.
It says this is his pivot.
Bye-bye, Gus.
And Cal says, and people still want to put in orders.
Glad you're listening, Cal.
Yeah, Cindy says, thank you all for a great show. Thanks, Cindy.
Cindy.
And Yosta says, have a fantastic weekend. And with that, I think we're going to call it a show.
That's right.
So thanks, everyone, for tuning in. And if you're watching this as a recording, please let us know you're watching as a recording. Please say hello. Let us know if you've got a question. Tag us in it. We'll happily answer it for you.
Marshall, is that your brother that just posted on there?
That is my brother. Tim says hello. What the
Your
hell?
brother, the lawyer.
Thanks, Tim, for joining in on the fun. Appreciate you, buddy.
Oh, Tim, have I heard stories about you?
Yeah, none of them are true.
All right, everybody. Have a good day. Ron Goodwin, good to see you. Have a good day, man.
All right. Hey, everyone, take care and have a happy and safe weekend.
Yep. Bye-bye.